3:33 on March 17th. I'd like to call this regular session meeting to order, please. Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Commissioner Hopkins.
Here.
Commissioner Johnson.
Present.
Commissioner Jackson. Commissioner Young.
Here.
Commissioner Burrell. Commissioner Jones. Commissioner Gage Watts.
Present.
Commissioner Taliaferro.
Here, sir.
Commissioner Atkins.
Here.
Commissioner Chavez.
Here, sir.
Commissioner Lazarus.
Here.
Commissioner Epperson. All right, I'm counting 9 of 12 present, and that is a quorum.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Clerk. Mr. Chavez, or Commissioner Chavez, would you be kind enough to lead us in an invitation? And Commissioner Stormy Gage Watts, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Sure.
All stand, please.
I'm sorry.
All right. All heads bowed. Heavenly Father, thank you so much for this glorious day. Thank you for the beautiful weather outside. Thank you for waking us up this side of heaven and bringing us here today to do the work of the parish. I ask that you place your hand upon our shoulders and that you use your will to allow us to do the work of the parish and guide us and lead us and direct us, Lord. In your Son's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Please render the proper salute and join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioner Stormy Gage Watts, and thank you, Commissioner Chavez. Mr. Clerk, do we have any agenda additions?
We do have one agenda addition today, and that item, if you refresh your computer screens, it should be there. It is the potential agenda addition is a resolution 25 of 2022, a resolution urging and requesting the Louisiana legislature to adopt Senate Bill 322, providing relative to official journal publication by local governments and otherwise providing with respect thereto, from Commissioner Johnson.
Okay. Do we have a motion to expand the agenda?
So move.
Second.
All right, we have a motion to expand the agenda from Commissioner Johnson and a second from Commissioner Taliaferro, it sounded like. Commissioner Johnson, would you like to comment on this further before we open up this up to public?
I will. This bill is being introduced by Senator Mills, and what it does, it gives local governments, the commission, school board, city council, an avenue to not use an official journal, but to basically put an ad in a newspaper and have that forwarded to our website or to their website. And then the public can then go to our website and look at the minutes. This is also being pushed by the Louisiana Police Jury Association, so it's been favorable. It went straight through the Police Jury Association during our convention a couple weeks ago. So this is something that most police juries and municipalities are supporting because it will reduce costs of having to put that in the official journal. And then it would, so you have somebody who says, well, I don't have a computer. Well, then they would notify that particular body, and then they will send them a copy of the minutes.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioner Johnson. Commissioner Epperson, do you have a comment?
Those will be into our legislative priorities also, right?
Yes.
They already-
They would be, once it passed.
Okay. Seeing no one else on the board, we will open this up for a public hearing. So the public hearing is now open. If there's anyone in the chamber who would like to speak either for or against this agenda addition, please come forward to the podium. Seeing no one, we will close the public hearing and move forward with a vote on the motion. Mr. Clerk, we are ready to vote.
That sounds great. You'll be voting on whether to expand the agenda to include this item. And that motion carries with 10 in support, none in opposition, and 2 absent. So that brings us to citizens' comments, where citizens are asked to fill out a comment card and return it here to the clerk, or they are able to fill them out online before the meeting and turn them into the president. Comments are limited to 3 minutes. I've only received 1 comment at this point.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Okay, Mr. Raymond Love, are you in the audience? Please come to the podium. Thank you for coming down, Mr. Love. You have 3 minutes.
I don't really need that much time. Name is Raymond Love. I'm a retired teacher from Caddo Parish, and I wanted to thank the school. I'm gonna stop saying school board.
Old habits.
I want to thank the commission for the recognizing the retired teachers day that they are going to have. In fact, I brought some retired teachers down here with me who want to see their commissioners in action, and actually show their appreciation for your accepting that position of recognizing the school, the Retired Teachers Day, as something new that has come to Caddo Parish. Sometimes as retired teachers, we work pretty hard trying to get things done, but when you retire, it's pretty tough dealing with them. So I'd like to ask the retired teachers who are here today to stand up. Some of them you may recognize, some of them they may have even taught you.
May I interrupt? Point of information, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Love, I think Commissioner Epperson had a question.
We appreciate you coming, Mr. Love, but
Yes.
we're going to, at the appropriate time, we'll read the proclamation, then you can make your comments and recognize those teachers,
Oh,
okay?
okay.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank you,
All right.
Commissioner Epperson.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Clerk.
All right, and we are almost at that time as well, but right before we get to, the next section, we do have visitors. We do not have any more citizens' comment. But the visitors today, we have People's Promise Youth Division.
Mr. President.
Yes.
Okay. I just got a text message about, they might not get here on time, but.
Oh,
I
They
see
are
something
here.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Could you please remove your mask so we can understand you clearly and introduce yourself?
Yes, sir. My name is Autumn Summers. I'm the co-chair and founder, excuse me, of the People's Promise Youth Division.
And I'm Ryan Wilkinson. I'm the Chief Financial Officer.
And,
Welcome.
oh, sorry?
Welcome.
So we came here today to, first of all, recognize and thank the Caddo Parish School Board for working with us. Me and my co-chair, Kingston Wills, we've been working really hard to get a voter registration and education day passed at the school board level. And we didn't get that. We got a whole week. And I think it's really important that we first of all thank the school board for working with us. And of course I want to thank all the commissioners here as well, because I've met with you, some of you personally, and I had conversations with you, encouraging us to get the youth involved. And that was always something that the People's Promise Youth Division was started on, was youth civic engagement. And so our voter registration and education program is going to be youth-led and youth-empowered. And what that means to us is that there will be 2 ambassadors from every school in Caddo Parish, and they'll be helping their teens to get educated on nonpartisan voting strategies, meaning they'll be able to know what exactly it means to vote, why you should vote, how to get registered to vote, and also knowing their basic information on how to do early voting or other things that are really important, like what's on my ballot. And it's also really important going forward. We would like to expand on a statewide level. It doesn't end here, but really we just want to thank everyone, especially at the Caddo School Board, and thank you for helping us get our resolution. And of course, we'd like to someday work with all of you at the Caddo Commissioners in getting the youth of Shreveport more involved. It's incredibly important. I think Shreveport is known a lot of the times for the crime here, and that starts at the youth. And the way we prevent that is by starting with education and by uplifting the people who are young, because they are the future, and we need to prepare the future for the future.
Along with that, we've done some projects where we've gone down to Baton Rouge to testify on certain House bills that we believe that will impact the youth the most, specifically redistricting events where we talk about how the youth in Louisiana don't really want to stay here. If you go around Caddo Parish schools, a lot of people would agree that no one wants to stay here. And to some people, that makes them happy, but for others, I think, especially Louisiana natives, that's a tragedy. We need to part of our mission is to keep kids of Louisiana in Louisiana, so we don't have sort of brain drain going to other states, so we can keep the talent that we build here in Louisiana. Along with those projects, we're also help building a community house in Queensboro and a few small projects such as tutoring any students that need it.
Yeah, well, the whole idea is just that we're youth-led and youth-empowered, and so we just wanted to thank you for also letting us be recognized at today's meeting. Again, the whole thing, the reason why we started the People's Promise Youth Division is because I think teenagers and people who are just considered to be too young are often kind of ignored. And the fact that we can get people involved in government and civic education at such a young age is an amazing thing, and it's something that is unique to Shreveport and something that makes it so great. So we just wanted to thank you for recognizing us and give you an update on what is going on with the voter registration and education aspect with Caddo Parish Schools. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Before you depart, I think we've got a couple of commissioners on the board with questions. Commissioner Jackson?
Thank you, Mr. President. Are y'all associated with the People Promise Group with Ms. Brika Peoples?
So we are in the process of getting registered as a 501c3, so I'm not really allowed to answer that at this point, but it is a separate organization in the sense that they do different work than we do. Our organization is not political, and it's really just focused on community service and uplifting the community.
But there's an affiliation.
It has the same name. Yes, there is an affiliation.
Okay. And I asked that because that organization, including Ms. Peoples, have often been vilified for her positions, being outspoken. And I think even some of you all experienced that when you went down to the legislature about what folks will say and do to you when you dare to speak truth to power.
Yes, sir.
And oftentimes it's needed because folks around and folks in positions and in power can be tone deaf. And we often make bad decisions, not because it's the right thing to do, because we feel like it's the expedient thing to do. So I'm proud to see young folks stepping up, stepping into the fray, not willing to back down. You know, they called Dr. King a terrorist before they killed him, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, but we love him now. And so I just think that if we're gonna be a successful city and parish, we're gonna need our youth to speak up and talk about some of the things, because none of the decisions that we make now will take an immediate effect. It's about the future. It's about years from now. And I'm proud to see young folks willing to step into the fold and take bold, brave, and courageous decisions and be unashamed and unapologetic about it. And if I could do anything to help mobilize your groups or stand with you, I'd be proud to be there with you. So just keep up the good work, keep up the good fight, and just know that it's a lot of work.
Yes, sir.
A lot of work that needs to be done in Caddo Parish.
Yeah, thank you. And we do really appreciate any support, even if it's just verbal, because when we did go to Baton Rouge, there was a lot of backlash, people who did support House Bill 14 or who didn't or whatever. So anything, words of encouragement, we truly do appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
One more Commissioner Johnson.
Yes, I appreciate you guys coming down today. Today to me is a day of highlighting our youth and positive things that are being done in Caddo Parish. A lot of people don't know about the youth division of People Promise. I also know that some of your peers have gotten scholarships to some major universities. Can you elaborate on some of that? Can you name some of the schools that they're going to? Or?
So I don't know if I should be talking about the scholarship aspect, but yes, our members, most of our members are just kind of represented throughout every grade, so some of them are in middle school, some of them in high school, but we do have members going to Yale University, Tulane, some of them undecided, so one of them got into Georgetown recently, so I don't think I'm allowed to say names.
Well, not names, but I just want to name some of the schools that they're going to.
Yeah, from what I know, and I think I do have limited knowledge, but U-Michigan, Georgetown, Tulane, Yale University, LSU, LA Tech, Northwestern, and we're still getting updates on that because college admission process isn't completely over yet.
So I just wanted people to know that there are youth in our area that are doing good things, and they're going to some major universities. And the thing I like about you guys is that y'all do a lot of research. You read a lot, do a lot of research, and you get information before you go out and do action.
Yes, sir.
Instead of a lot of knee-jerk reactions, you research it and then speak up on it.
Yes, sir.
And I think that's what we need to start focusing on, educating not only you guys, but some are in high school and some are in middle school. And those that are in middle school, I mean, by the time they get in high school, they're gonna be super sharp because of you guys mentoring them as they grow older. I just want to say thank you, and like I said, today to me is a day that we'll talk about the youth. And then we do have a segment for the ones who have retired, but the focus should be on our youth, and that's the next generation coming up. Thanks
Thank you,
again.
sir. And just to, I guess, go off of that, I'm not really allowed to discuss the details yet, but we are working on a post-graduation for high schoolers and post-graduation for middle schoolers, sort of like a freshman orientation thing where we can really uplift the youth and get them prepared for whatever they want to do in their career, whether it's going to college or trade school or whatever it is. So we do think that is a huge aspect of uplifting the youth. And again, it does tie into a lot of the crime rates in Louisiana. If we want to actually address the problem, a lot of that root problem is rooted in a lack of education. And so we're trying to combat that, and we're trying to uplift Louisiana because the state does need uplifting.
And I also want to challenge my colleagues too. When they go to Baton Rouge, that's been done with private dollars. I supported it the last time you guys went. And so, you know, when you go down to the Capitol, you see kids from all different parishes, especially close to Baton Rouge, that go down to the Capitol and they sit and they listen to what's going on. But as you move further and further away from Baton Rouge, the number of students gets smaller and smaller. And so any opportunity that we have a group of youth that will go down to Baton Rouge, we ought to be trying to support that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Epperson.
As the old saying goes, excuse my voice, I'm battling the cold, all politics are local. At some point in time in my early tenure as a commissioner, we had what we call student commissioner for a day. Each commissioner chose a student from their district. They tracked us through the entire day through parish government. And I think it'd be good if you all would lobby not only your commissioners, but your city council persons and your school board members. That way you can actually see what we go through. Oftentimes we are ostracized, denigrated, persecuted, you know what I mean? But guess what? Nothing is lost and nothing is gained unless it's through the political process. It starts locally, Baton Rouge, and Washington, D.C. It's a cycle, and you need to start here first. And then you go to Baton Rouge, then you know what's happening in D.C. Everything that you gain or lose comes through the political process. It does me well. I have 4 students that were student commissioners for a day that I track now. One is in Washington State with 3 children, a high-ranking NCO in the military, converse with him. One's in Las Vegas, Nevada. One's in Fort Leavenworth, Kansas, a military officer. And one is in Chicago, Illinois, stating the things that they learned as they went through the process here. So lobby your commissioners, lobby your council members, your school board members, and tell them, send some of those students to be a council person for a day, a school board member for a day, a commissioner for a day, and show them the real ins and outs as to how politics really work. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Commissioner Epperson. Thank you all so much for coming down today. Thank you all for what you're doing for our community, and keep up the good work.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all.
Mr. Clerk, before we leave visitors, I would like to point out that School Board Member Dottie Bell is in the audience. Please give us a hand, Dottie Bell. Nice to see you. All right.
Okay, the next item is to adopt regular session minutes.
Motion by Commissioner Stormy Gage Watts, second by Commissioner Jones.
And you also have your, by the way, just to be clear, is that motion to also adopt this minutes of the special meeting of the property standards hearing on Monday?
Second.
Yes, it is. Commissioner Stormy Gage Watts' motion includes both items as well as Commissioner Jones' second.
All right. And that motion passes with 12 in support, none in opposition. And that brings us to special resolutions, where we have 3 special resolutions on the agenda today. Would you like me to read the 3 items and y'all can take them up for action and then invite
That'll be fine.
people up one at a time? Okay, those 3 items are 8.1, a special resolution of recognition and appreciation for Huntington High School's boys and girls basketball teams. 8.2 is a special resolution of remembrance for former Commissioner Ron Webb. And 8.3 is a special resolution proclaiming March 18th as Retired Teachers' Day in Caddo Parish.
Okay, let's take 8.1 first. I know these guys have an event to attend. We have Commissioner Johnson on the board. Did you have something, Commissioner Epperson?
We're gonna move for adoption on the resolution.
Yeah, on all 3?
All 3.
Second.
We have a motion from Commissioner Epperson to adopt all 3, a second by Commissioner Todd Hopkins second that item. Let's have a vote on approving all 3, and then we will discuss each.
Perfect.
Commissioner Jack.
Those items are adopted unanimously with 12 in support and none in opposition. The first item is the special resolution of recognition and appreciation for Huntington High School's boys and girls basketball teams.
How do you want to handle that, Commissioner Johnson? Who's the lead, or is it Commissioner Epperson?
I'd like to have the Huntington High School boys and girls team come forward to the front, and after they are assembled in the line up, we'll have the commission clerk to read the resolution.
Okay, why don't we stand while they come up?
Some of you can they come up here in the foyer right here and stand behind? They can move. Okay, not gonna hurt.
Yeah, there we go.
And just push the station back.
There we
They're
are.
not there. Yeah. Some of you come up that way, yeah, balance your line out.
There you go.
There you go.
Put you to work here, huh?
So I mean, you can stay, those of you can stay in the front, but I'm just saying where you could be kind of balanced. Now go to the front, line up to the front. Coach and principal, like you all in the center, please. There you go. There you go. Square them off out there. Got a soldier out there? Just right there. All right. Okay, we good? Are we ready?
She get in the middle.
Where Dr. Mitchell, he there?
I'm here.
Coach there? All right, are we ready?
Sir, ready?
All right, Mr. Everson, we ready?
Okay, thank you. This is a special resolution of recognition for the Huntington High School's boys and girls basketball programs. Whereas the Caddo Parish Commission continues to note with pride and amazement of the incredible feats of hardcourt dominance achieved by the 2021-2022 Huntington High School Raiders and Lady Raiders basketball programs, who've taken their success on the court and used it to show leadership beyond the court to inspire, motivate, provide hope, and unite a community in support of their incredible achievements. Whereas the Raiders and Lady Raiders represent a uniquely impressive dual set of champion teams, both winning the District 1 4A titles and each moving on to compete in the Louisiana High School Athletic Association's Class 4A Top 28, where both teams advanced to the semifinals before seeing their seasons end. Each team was comprised of leaders, scholars, friends, sons, daughters, classmates, and champions. Whereas the 2021-2022 school year has been wrought with struggle for many, from the ongoing effects of the COVID-19 pandemic to the tragic loss of one of their beloved teammates to gun violence. It is with great appreciation that we recognize these students who rose above the challenges and sought to be defined not by the tragedies they had endured, but by the greatness they had achieved. And whereas the Raiders and Lady Raiders team's successes also propelled several individuals to stand out, including the Raiders District MVP Rashawn McCullers, Second team All-District to Cedric Webb. District honorable mentions to Kelvian Taylor, Desmond Washington, and the late Devin Myers. And Coach of the Year, Mac Jones. And the Lady Raiders, Kayla Dean, who will receive all-state honors later this month, joins Jayla Allen, Jamari Bell on the first all-district team. And the district honorable mentions went to Najee Grant, Naya Lafier, and Kanaya Moore. Off the court, both teams were proud to have academic success, with many members of the teams in honors classes, dual enrollment classes, AP classes, on the honor roll, and excelling in the classroom. Now therefore be it resolved by the Caddo Parish Commission meeting in legal and regular session on this 17th day of March 2022, that it does heartily commend and congratulate the coach and team members of the Huntington High School Raiders and Lady Raiders for their tremendously successful seasons, their devotion to excellence, and the pride they bring to their school and community, and wishes them further success as they continue to grow and develop as the leaders of tomorrow. And that is signed by all members of the Caddo Parish Commission.
If you all would hold that position, commissioners may be seated. I'm going to make my comments up here, so I won't spread my germs down when I bring you proclamation. Just keep looking forward. You're doing fine. Just want to let you know that even though your championship came up a little short as being tops, you were still winners. You still did Caddo Parish proud. You still did your families proud. You still did the Myers family proud. And we are proud of you. Whether you were the champions or you finished runner-up or what have you, there's still a lot than some of them did before. So once again, we want to let you know how proud we are of you, and this is a learning lesson. And don't think what you have done has not been noticed, not only here within Caddo Parish, the state of Louisiana, but throughout this nation. So once again, thank you, and I'm going to come down and make the presentation and get me a little photo gravy, and then I'll turn it over to the rest of the commission.
If there are any other commissioners want to get on the board, please get on the board while Commissioner Epperson gets his gravy. I'll wait till Commissioner Epperson gets done.
Gentlemen, we present this on behalf of the Caddo Parish Commission, all the citizens in Caddo Parish, for a job well done. Thank you all.
Okay. Is he done up there? I can't tell.
Do we need to turn around?
Commissioner Jones? I think they got photos being taken.
Okay, I'm taking my, now you all can face the commission, and some of them may have some
Okay,
comments.
Commissioner Jones.
To address.
I just wanted to tell you all, great season, very proud of the strength and resolve that you all have shown, despite what you face. Saw many of you some of you grow up like little cousins and nephews to me, and I'm very proud of the young men and young women that you're becoming. I did want to shout out Coach Brian Shine, who also is one for a District Coach of the Year as well. So, and Coach Mac Jones, who's been at this thing for a long time. Again, there's no relation. I have to say that every time somebody's last name is Jones. But is an absolute legend in our area. So wanted to take this time to recognize you all and just say keep your head forward. Something my pastor always says to us in difficult times, we always say God will never put more on us than we can bear. But the truth is, sometimes he will put more on you than you can bear, but he'll never put more on you than he can bear. And so I would encourage you to cast all your cares upon him because he cares for you. And so I know you're getting ready to face a very difficult weekend this week. And so I'm praying for you all, and I'm asking you to be strong as you can, and you'll get through this. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Commissioner Jones. Commissioner Vice President Burrell.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to commend you guys and ladies, for a job well done. Huntington has always been close to my heart. It was part of my city council district when I was on the city council, as well as my legislative district at the state level. And we've been so proud of you. Matter of fact, I guess I'll give a shout out to two of my sons who graduated from Huntington and have gone on to college. So Huntington has a great history and a great reputation, so you all wear it well because it is an honor. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Burrell. Commissioner Gage Watts.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would just like to say congratulations on all of your achievements. I am so super proud of everything that you are overcoming in this season because you are overcoming it. I love your shirts. I love your ribbons. I love what you stand for. And just know that this too shall pass. And you will get through this by standing on those promises of God and using each other to help lift you up and encourage you in this very difficult time. I will be with you on Saturday to share more with you, but I wanted to take this opportunity to congratulate you and let you know that I'm proud of your tenacity. Thank you.
Commissioner Jackson.
Yes, first of all, for the record, I'd like for the clerk to note that I wasn't here on Monday due to travel, but I just in the record, I'd like to be listed as a co-sponsor for that, Mr. Clerk, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
Thank you, and I have most of what I would say has been said. Stand up tall, and just know that tough times don't last always, but tough people do. And another thing that our pastor taught us is that our job and our obligation is to give you the answer before life gives you the question. And I know there are a lot of questions out there right now about what you're going through, but Coach was there when her name is escaping me, but my classmate at Woodlawn was gunned down, and Carlton Brooks was the murderer, was the suspect. So what you all have gone through, folks have overcome, folks have achieved, folks have persevered. So what we're trying to convey to you today is that these challenges don't last all the time, but it's up to you all to defy those odds and come back and invest it back into this community. Because what we do down here is serious, but we do it for y'all. And Coach, I would extend, and Principal Mitchell, Ms. Bell, I would extend the opportunity, if you haven't, give these gentlemen an opportunity to go visit Juvenile Detention Center and sit with Mr. Clay Walker and see what it is like. Because I remember, Coach, y'all used to bring those programs into the gym for us. And at that moment, I said, that's not what I want to do. That's not where I want to end up. Y'all got great leaders standing behind you. Stand on their shoulders, because I can tell you, that man right there, his shoulders are solid. His shoulders are solid. Take advantage of them. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Commissioner Jackson. Commissioner Epperson.
I'd just like to let you all know, Dr. Mitchell and Coach, if any of the individuals would like copies of the proclamation, please get a count and we'll get the sufficient number to you.
Thank you, Commissioner Epperson. Commissioner Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. President. Dr. Mitchell, Coach Shine, Coach Jones, you guys played a hell of a season. The one thing I've always said about the Caddo Parish, we have too many high schools because the talent is so spread out. But you guys showcase the talent can be at one school, and you can make a serious run for state championship. I know Coach Jones personally. We go way back, and I know that he's going to try to get the best out of y'all day in and day out. One thing that you must realize, that Devin lives within all of y'all because he touched all of y'all. And so since he touched y'all, he lives within you guys. And so play with that chip on your shoulder. Take it to the next grade, take it to the next level, but play with that same intensity that y'all played with during the playoffs. Because once you do that, it carries over into not only sports, but also academics. And then it carries over into the job that you get. And you keep that same passion going. And Devin lives day in and day out with you. That's all I have, Mr. President.
Thank you, Commissioner Johnson. seeing no one else on the board, we're so proud of y'all. Thank you for coming down today. Good luck with the rest of your school year. And again, thanks for coming down.
John, why don't you treat these kids to lunch or something?
I can't even see him back there.
Commissioner Atkins, did I hear you say you treating them to lunch?
Dr. Mitchell and Coach.
Did I hear you say you treating them to lunch?
No,
I'd be happy to.
Dr. Mills wants to.
Let's split over that split.
Okay.
Coach, you got a word to say back there?
Well, first off, just thank you all. I mean, you did not have to do this, so we just appreciate you all recognizing both our basketball teams. We have definitely faced some challenges this year, but honestly, we do what we do because these kids are so awesome. Like I'm honored to stand up here, as their principal, but everything that we've accomplished and everything we've done are because these kids are really amazing. It's really a joy to go to work because I get to see them every day. I get to see them in their element, and I just hope that we're guiding them the way we should. And I feel like we are because they've all grown. They all gone a long way and accomplished a whole lot already. Of course, I can brag about Huntington all day. We are the best school in the district, so if you didn't know that, then y'all definitely should have put this in this proclamation. So I know that we're doing some great things, but honestly, y'all, without these kids and without a wonderful staff to really do it, we wouldn't be here. So really, just thank you all, and I'm gonna let my coaches talk and my board member talk. But truly, we are really proud of them. So being recognized by you all is definitely an honor, and we just appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. He's very nice. Okay, he's a gentleman. Okay, all I want to say that as a board member, this is a group, and I call them sweet babies. These are great, and the girls and the boys, and I'm proud of them. And one thing about it, that day of the tragedy, I went up, they was holding me up. These are great young people. And one thing about Huntington, it affected the whole school. But right now, and Mr. Atkins and the rest of them know, the choir's up there in New York getting ready to perform at Conacher Hall Saturday. The track team, they got to leave early because half the boys and girls on the track meet, they went in there. So I'm saying all of them were resilient, they proud, and they winning, the band and won, everybody, academic-wise. So I just want to thank you for taking this time to recognize them. They need this. Mm-hmm. The school needs this, and let's continue to pray for them, please.
Thank you, Ms. Bell.
Again, thank you for welcoming us here during your time that you took out for us today. These are some great young people that we work with every day. Without them, my job wouldn't be as easy as it is right now. We talk about all the time about habits. A man doesn't determine his habits. Doesn't determine his future, but his habits does. So we're in the business of making sure these young men and later have great habits. And we have a great staff at Huntington High School. And we once again, we'll be back. Like Commissioner said, tough time does not last always, but tough people do. And so these are some tough young men and women right now on our staff. Principal, Dottie Bell, and and we're gonna always be Huntington. And thank you again.
Thank y'all. Thank you very much.
Well, I wasn't going to say nothing, but I guess they told me to come say something. So I'm going to say thank you. I can talk about this team and this group of kids forever because I've had a lot of them since they were in 5th and 6th grade. So it means a lot to me to see them here, to see all that they've accomplished. They worked really, really hard for this. They really have. It's really, really hard to make it to the top 28. And what they did, both boys and girls, is just something to be commended. And we just thank y'all for having us.
Thank you. Thank you.
Did we hear anything from the ladies? Anybody from the ladies in? This Women's Month. You want to say something, Sugar? Get up to the mic.
They at the track meet. The whole team at the track meet.
Oh, they at the track meet?
All the girls are at the track.
Okay, all right then.
Mr. President, I do want to.
All right, thank y'all. Appreciate it.
Mr. President, I do want to, before Dr. Mitchell leaves, I also want to shout him out for working with us on the law program. And I think we have a partnership with Southern University Law Center. Is that coming along?
We're trying to.
Okay.
So we're definitely excited. Right. Well, more than most, but right now they're upper level.
Okay.
But as soon as, a few years when they starting law school, hopefully we'll be graduating. Now we're capable of graduating seniors with a associate's degree in criminal justice or English.
Okay.
So hopefully soon they'll graduate from high school, already have an associate's degree, and be ready to go to law school.
Okay. Well, he's been right there from ground one, day one, working with the law school effort. The superintendent volunteered him.
He did.
And he stepped right in without any complaints. Board Member Bell, no complaints. They worked. I usually just check in, and things are moving just fine. And so once that law center is full-fledged, we hope to have them over there, even working with the mock trials that they do over there as well. So,
we're ready to go.
So thank you, Dr. Mitchell.
Thank you.
Thank y'all. Appreciate it. Thanks for coming down. All right. Let them get squared away. Okay, Mr. Clerk.
You want me to proceed with?
Yes,
the next
please.
item is the special resolution of remembrance for former Commissioner Ron Webb. Did you want
Commissioner
that read
Chavez?
into the record, or do you want me to?
I'd like you to read it in the record, just out of respect for his family. And this was one of our own commissioners. He was the Southern Hills Commissioner, which was obviously district lines had moved, but he was District 11 on the record. But I'd like the colleagues to hear that didn't get a chance to know him from the proclamation. Then I was going to read his obituary so you can hear the cool
Let's stand
stuff.
for his resolution.
Absolutely. This is a resolution of remembrance and respect to the memory of Mr. Ron Webb. Whereas the Caddo Parish Commission pauses to reflect with sad fondness upon the life and works of a former colleague, Mr. Ron Webb, whose passing on March 12, 2022 marked the close of a long and productive life of public service. Whereas Ron Webb was a native of Bossier Parish who has spent his adult life in a variety of professional, civic, and political leadership roles. While living in Southern Hills and working for General Motors, he was elected to the Republican State Central Committee, which was followed by his election to the Caddo Parish Commission, representing District 11 in 1996. In 2006, he served as president of the Caddo Parish Commission, and just as his peers chose him to lead the commission, so too did the electorate choose him to serve on the Shreveport City Council. In November of that year, 2006, Webb resigned from the Caddo Parish Commission in order to take the District E seat on the Shreveport City Council, where he would be reelected and serve the maximum 8 years, leaving the council in late 2014. Whereas Mr. Webb was always a hardworking, industrious, and faithful man with a love for his family and who clearly found joy in people and their stories, Ron retired from General Motors and also worked for Continental Trailways, Antipest, Gannett as a real estate agent, a bail bondsman, and even a private eye. He combined his love of family and business with his love of helping people when he created Webb Professional Remodeling Services with his wife, and the company has tithed over $250,000 of its earnings to charities including Providence House, Shreveport Bossier Rescue Mission, the Shriners Children's Hospital, and St. Jude's Cancer Center. Whereas he is warmly remembered by many current and past associates and friends for his cheerful demeanor, his relatable and amusing anecdotes, his strong faith, and for his efforts on behalf of his constituents. His love for and service to the Southern Hills community, his success in business, family, and philanthropy, and the many lives he touched through his public service will be how he is fondly remembered. Now therefore be it resolved by the Caddo Parish Commission, Now therefore be it resolved that the Caddo Parish Commission does express its deepest regret and sadness upon the passing of Mr. Ron Webb, and herein conveying its sincere expressions of sympathy and condolences to his wife Lauren, family, and friends, who can be consoled in the knowledge that his lasting contributions and achievements. And that's signed by all members of the Caddo Parish Commission.
Thank you, Commissioner Clark. Commissioner Chavez?
President, that pretty much summed up a lot of the obituary. I know my father worked with Ron over at General Motors, and he always talked about how hard of a worker he was. And one thing that I thought was really cool, that as as a teenager before he got into all his industrious other endeavors. He would go around and just sell coat hangers just to earn money. It was a paper boy and whatnot. And I thought it was really cool how the progression of how much of a public servant that he was, and that's how he lived his entire life. And I thank the commission for respecting him today and doing the proclamation. So thank you to my colleagues.
Thank you, Commissioner.
And just to follow up on that, as a note, his visitation is tomorrow, 5 to 7 p.m., and then I believe his services are Saturday, if anybody's interested in attending.
Where, Mr. Evans?
Let me confirm that for you.
You have it on you, if you have the obituary, it's on the bottom of the obituary.
No, I just have the recap. We'll get it for Commissioner.
I'll find that
Epperson.
one moment.
Okay.
We'll hold off on that, Commissioner Clerk, if we could proceed on to our next special resolution.
Absolutely. The next resolution is a special resolution proclaiming March 18th as Retired Teacher Day in Caddo Parish.
Commissioner Epperson, how would you like to handle that?
I'd like for the retired teachers to come forward. I think Mr. Love is the president. Need to bring them all up front, please.
Yep. Would y'all like me to begin reading and we can
Yes.
stand?
Everybody stand, please.
All right. A special resolution proclaiming Retired Teachers Day. Whereas Louisiana Governor John Bell Edwards has declared March 17th, 2020 as Retired Teachers Day in the state of Louisiana. And whereas Caddo Parish is fortunate to be home to many retired teachers who devoted their professional lives to the betterment of others, using their talents and gifts combined with hard work and dedication to train and educate tens of thousands of Caddo Parish's sons and daughters and young people across the region. And whereas Caddo's retired teachers contributed and continue to contribute beyond the primary, secondary, and post-secondary halls of education and have provided guidance, job training, behavioral training, leadership, volunteerism, and countless other forms of nurturing through their roles in their communities, charitable organizations, houses of worship, and civic affairs. And whereas Caddo Parish's retired teachers can look back with pride on their careers, knowing that they were entrusted with preparing a generation of leaders and shaping the minds that would guide our society through the challenges of the future, whether those leaders lead in their homes, professions, communities, or beyond. And whereas Caddo Parish and those communities who have benefited from the Caddo Parish transplants owe much of their quality of life and success to retired teachers who instill the magic of learning, even as the resources and pay afforded to them were often below what they deserved. And whereas Caddo Parish remains dedicated to the retired teachers of our community and appreciative of the wealth of experience and knowledge that they possess, their desire to lift others up, and their loyal, patriotic, and steadfast dedication to the Caddo Parish community, our state, and nation. Now therefore be it resolved by the Caddo Parish Commission meeting in legal and regular session on this 17th day of March 2022 that it does hereby proclaim March 18th, 2022 as Retired Teacher Day in Caddo Parish, Louisiana, and urges all citizens to join with the parish in recognition of this important day.
Mrs. You may be seated. I'm going to make my comments up here to minimize the spread of my germs. Then I'll make it down for another photogravy shot. Thank you all, and we appreciate you so much for what you've done throughout the years. I still see 3 teachers that's retired and still on the battlefield. They work in various aspects of the community with myself and other venues. And I'd just like to say, none of you are old enough to have taught me, but there are still 3 educators that taught me that are watching today. When I was in middle school, in the 7th grade, 3 of my teachers are still living, and they made a tremendous difference in my life and a number of other lives, you know, as far as getting into a fight tightening those britches up, coming in that bathroom when you call yourself shooting hooking. And Miss Creasy Hudson would go in that boy's bathroom and kick it open, and she'll take a 250-pound football player, grab him by the collar and throw him out until he get to class. Those are the things that we had, and it meant a lot, and it did a lot. So once again, we thank you all very much. Mr. Everson, you got my copy so I can get my photograph? There you go.
We'll let him get his photograph and then we'll. If anyone else has a comment, please get on the board behind Commissioner Burrell.
Stay up here, you may have some commissioners want to make comments. You make your comments now.
Okay.
But we as a retired group wanted to come to the commission and just thank you guys for recognizing the Retired Teachers Day. Not very often do we get a whole lot of things after we retire, but we never stop working, just as a number of you on the board have already stated. Even though we're retired, we're still in Caddo Parish. We're still working in the system. We still volunteer and do other things in the system. So I want to say this is a great thing for the Retired Teachers Day, and that Caddo has also made itself part of that Retired Teachers Day. And that's my comments. And then I'll see if anyone else want to say anything.
Well, while y'all think, we'll have Commissioner Burrell has a few comments, and then we'll catch up with y'all. Commissioner Burrell, you ready? Yep, sorry.
Oh. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I got too many things going on at one time. Again, I want to congratulate you to all the retired teachers. There are two groups of people in I believe in every child's life that makes the greatest difference and impact in their lives. And many times that's your parents first, then your teachers second, but not necessarily in that order, because many times the teachers sometimes become the mother and the father for kids, which is so important. You all, I can't say enough. Much of what I am and was exposed to was through my teachers, because they had, their education and many times travels. Many times I wouldn't have left out of my little small country town if it were not for my teachers. So they hold a very important part in my life and will always be. And I know most of all of you, but one in particular, I got to give a shout out to my fraternity brother, Raymond Love, premier art teacher here in Caddo Parish. Like I said, I know many others of you, but again, thank you for coming, and know that you love. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Commissioner Burrell. Commissioner Jones.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Just wanted to thank you all for coming down and sharing with us today. Thank you for your many years of service and sacrifice, and I know many of you, teaching never stops, even though you've retired from the system. Mr. Love, member of our church, and would continue to teach even on Sunday mornings, would find some ways to do some type of teaching. And before many people got off into graphic design for their church signs for church anniversary or pastor's anniversary, Mr. Love was freehand painting that stuff. You would walk into church and see a huge happy pastor anniversary sign, and Mr. Love would be freehand painting that stuff. And now they've got computers to do all of that, but he had the skill to do that, and he taught that to many others. And Ms. Dottie Bell, she called these children from Huntington sweet babies, but I don't care how old you get. If she taught you or had some type of influence on your life, you're going to always be her sweet baby. And so I appreciate that. And my prayer is that hopefully somewhere during this upcoming session, that it would rest upon the hearts of the many that make decisions to begin to invest in our teachers and to begin to compensate them for as much as we can, because we truly can't pay you for what you do. And I'm saying that as a witness, because there were many things, I think back in Ms. Hicks at Captain Shreve, who showed me that, you know, Stefan, you've got a lot in you. She made me stay after school one day and write a poem and get all of my aggression out about whatever I was upset about. And it was that day that I realized that I had a love for English. And so it's just little small things like that that you all are doing that you're not necessarily paid to do or asked to do, but you go beyond the call of duty to make sure those things are done. So it's my prayer that people will wake up and begin to treat teachers the way they deserve to be treated. So thank you for your service. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Commissioner Jones. We look forward to hearing your poem here.
Tell my mama to dig this stuff up.
Commissioner Jackson.
Yeah, bro, Mr. Love, I'm gonna remember your handcrafted painting when his pastoral anniversary comes up. We got to make that happen. We got to make it come full circle. But I want to thank you all for the work that you have done and you continue to do. You know, and I thought I saw Miss Page. Yeah. Okay, Miss Page and Mr. Page, Jerry Page as well. I tell them all the time they work harder now than they did when they probably was working in Caddo schools. And as you all know, or Mr. Love, or may not know, my mother was also in Caddo. Didn't get the fortune to have retired in front of her name as much as I pushed for it. But I know that the work that y'all are doing in the community, and not only just as citizens of our community, but to support those teachers and support staff that are there, and you are actively giving a voice to those teachers and that support personnel within the school system. So it is much needed and it is much appreciated. So I always see y'all out in the community organizing very quietly but very passionately and in a humble way. So thank you for what you're doing, and let us know what we can do to support you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Commissioner Jackson. Commissioner Hopkins.
I too wanted to thank y'all for your service. As a spouse of a retired teacher, I'm gonna have to take her out now if she finds out about this. but I can tell you, Mr. Page and Miss Bell made a huge impact on the kids in Oil City. But both of them were really important and made a huge impact. And we thank you for what you've done, because you've helped a lot of kids over the years, and we appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Hopkins. Commissioner Chavez.
Thank you, President. To Mr. Love and the gang, thank you so much for coming down. This is your day. You deserve it. My mother was an educator, and I saw the second job that she worked just to buy supplies for her students, and just what you guys go through, and nobody really pays you the respect and knows the long hours. And I saw her grading papers late at night, and I know. And so my hat's off to you. And I didn't want to take too much time because I know they all said it. You have raised our kids throughout this community just as much as their parents and coaches did. So my hat's off to you, and thank you for coming down. Thanks, President.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. President. For the ones that are standing, I do remember Mr. Love. He taught me art. I forget what school, but you taught me art, and I remember you was much more energetic back then. So get out of line. You had a way of getting people back into line. So, and I do remember that, and I appreciate all of the lessons, life lessons that you taught me at a young age. Thank you.
Okay, seeing no one else on the board, did I give everybody else a chance to talk up there?
Just one comment, and I think this will speak for the group you mentioned, and we do want to take this time to thank Commissioner Epperson, along with all of you, for supporting this proclamation that will observe us on tomorrow, along with the governor. But please note that politics is local. We do have a COLA, cost of living adjustment, that is coming up in this session, and we will be calling on you to help support and move that forward. Retired teachers have not had a COLA in over 10 years. So we will need your support. So we're looking at Commissioner Larson, Johnson, Chavez, yes, Epperson, Talaferro, Paul Young, Atkins, Burrell, Watts, Jones, Hopkins, Jackson. When we call you, please, please reach out and support.
Got plenty of money down there, you know.
Thank you.
I really need to say this. Thank you. I taught Todd. I went to the Commissioner Hopkins, and that was my first job, All City.
For her.
That's right. For 4 years, but I want you to know those were sweet children. I had to learn. It was in the country, but anything that we brought, they accepted. So anyway, thank you for telling me that we did make an impact on you.
So Todd's a sweet baby too? Is that what
Yeah,
you
he's been my sweet baby.
Oh, he's putting that corner all the time with that little hat on his head.
Thank you
Take
all.
what you can get.
Thank you all so much for all you've done for our community, and thank you all for coming down today.
Sweet baby Todd.
Okay, and before we move on to the next section, I did want to just continue what we were mentioning earlier. That visitation for former Commissioner Ron Webb is tomorrow from 5 to 7 at Boone Funeral Home. That's at 2156 Airline Drive in Bossier. And then his services are Saturday in the same location at 10 a.m. And that brings us to communiques and committee reports, where we have the administration response to information requests from commissioners.
First, we've got communiques and committees reports. Anyone who has a communique, please get on the board. I see Commissioner Johnson.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I would like to do a follow-up on a press conference that we had yesterday. Fellow local elected officials, clergy, professionals, entrepreneurs, and the local branch of the NAACP met to give a unified front of displeasure to an article that was written by John Settle pertaining to the fall's election cycle by using the word tar babies. The outcome of the meeting is to ask that all advertisers to stop advertising, all guest columnists to stop writing, for the city of Shreveport, Blanchard, and Greenwood to stop using the Inquisitor as the official journal, for stores to stop carrying the Inquisitor, for local law enforcement to stop using it to show who has been booked on a crime, for the clerk of court to stop using for property transfers, successions, divorces, and for the citizens to stop buying. I will hold the local governing bodies accountable until this is resolved in some type of resolution to stop using them as an official journal. Stores, you can expect to see a decline in sales as citizens will stop buying the Inquisitor inside your store. Also, for the general public, if they need to know who's in jail, you can always go to caddobooking.com or the Caddo Parish Sheriff website. That's all I had, Mr. President.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Johnson. Commissioner Epperson.
We've received a reply from the United States Postal Service relative to a resolution that we passed on behalf of getting a stamp recognition for Colonel Stephen DePeisler from Barksdale Air Force Base. Of course, you know he has to be deceased 3 years, so we're heading into that 3rd year. And we will be tracking this heavily, and any support that you can render, give me a call so we can make this happen. Also, March the 29th, which until 2025, under President Obama, they had signed a deal to recognize the 50th commemorative anniversary of the Vietnam War. The dates were 1960, November of 1960, until May of 1975. Any person that served in theater or that was drafted and was honorably discharged or signed up willfully or, volunteered or was in the reserve during that period of time will be entitled to a Vietnam commemorative recognition pin. Oftentimes we heard that it was a war that there was a lot of dissension about, protests. Our soldiers wasn't treated too well when they returned home. So if you know of any soldier or airman or sailor or any military branch that was in during those periods of time and served honorably, contact me, and we'll make sure that they get their commemorative medal. And also there's an additional special medal for any soldier or sailor or a Marine that was killed during that time in behalf of that also. And we'll be recognizing an event along with the Vet Center on Shreveport-Barksdale Highway to commemorate that in the near future. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Epperson. Commissioner Gage Watts.
Thank you, Mr. President. First of all, I would like to say happy belated birthday to Commissioner Ken Epperson. He ate up all the cake before he brought it to us. I just wanted to give a report on the Juvenile Justice Committee. We met on today and discussed prevention, intervention, and about gang violence in Caddo Parish. A motion was made to introduce to the full body a phased approach of a Stop the Violence initiative, including symposiums, job fairs, expungement summits within the next 90 days. We'll reconvene within the next 15 days to discuss additional prevention programs, including youth council and a youth choir. That's it. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Gage Watts. Commissioner Jackson?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I wasn't here on yesterday.
Monday?
Jeff, I'm sorry, I know these microphones are a little, I don't know what's going on. I wasn't here yesterday. Did we get any resolution on the cable channel?
We did. We had a good discussion about it. And for those of you who may not be familiar, this is in reference to, we had a meeting of the joint chamber, the city parish committee that meets to discuss issues in the government plaza chamber here. And one of the issues that was discussed was the way our meetings are streamed out. They are streaming out, but they're not. There's a missing gateway somewhere, so that they're not going onto the public access channel. So you are correct. We weren't even sure really if some households were getting us and some weren't. It looks like none are.
Right.
But there is a meeting now set, and we are set to follow up with Ms. Shocker Creel from their tech office to do a follow-up meeting to figure out all those things that could be going wrong and eliminate the problem.
Okay, so is it a piece of equipment that we need to buy?
We don't know that.
Y'all don't know?
But
Okay.
it looks like Erica may have had some additional conversation. But essentially it'll be another meeting. There'll be another meeting.
Okay.
Just
Yeah,
one
one
interest, is actually working. We tested today.
Say it again, I'm sorry.
It is actually working today.
Oh,
it is?
Yes.
Fantastic. That
Yeah,
was
we
quick.
checked it today.
Okay. So
Right.
it is
Public
working
access
today.
channel.
Okay, and then just what about just parish programming in general? Because my understanding is when we're not on, or sometimes it's just blank. So what about getting like the post of the parish stuff
Yeah.
and just parish content out?
We're going to have a meeting on that.
That's the follow-up?
Yes, because the city actually own that channel now, the Love Shreveport channel. And we did ask them if we can gain access to that. And that's what the subsequent meeting will be held
Okay.
for.
Well, I thought the contract, I thought the franchise agreement or the contract, according to Ronnie, gave both the city and the parish. So how did we miss?
I don't believe so, but we did access to it. And what they're currently doing now is doing the public notification for public announcements.
Right.
And screening their meetings. They're looping it over a 24-hour period. So we asked if we can get involved in that process and put some of our contents on there. So we'll be meeting with them to discuss that.
Okay, because that's not how Ronnie explained it to me. And y'all know I'm gonna double back to him.
Yes, well, that's what was brought up in the meeting yesterday.
Okay.
When we
and
met with everybody.
Was that verified by Comcast?
Comcast was not in the meeting yesterday. If we need to set up a separate meeting with Comcast.
Yeah, I think we
is that
need
what
to
you're-
find out from Comcast how we got, because my understanding that it was a city parish channel, and that's the way it is everywhere else. It's
From what we told yesterday, City of Shreveport own it.
okay. I mean, I'm not disputing it. I'm just
Yeah.
want to make sure that we verify with Comcast.
Yes, sir.
Because there was even a conversation about bringing the Booker T. Washington magnet students in
Yeah.
to participate in that. And I want to work with Dr. Vincent to make sure that those students at Booker T can use that as a lab or practicum for them.
Yeah. But it's my understanding that the City of Shreveport has a full-time employee
Okay.
that add all that content every day to that
Okay.
network.
Well, please keep me abreast on it, and I'll
Okay.
be checking in with it. Also, Patrick, I had a request from somebody if we could get similar like we did the Uri Drive, the Huntington High School, if we could do the Uri Drive team. Is that? Oh, okay. Well, can you get that? Don't worry about it, Tim. Can you get that message to him? I think we sponsor something for I think it's all city or all parish or something. I think that's at the middle school level or something. I got a text message if we could do a similar recognition. Whoever district has Uri Drive, I think they were the champs or something. So I don't know if y'all want to get that together. Also, Dr. Wilson, Erica, appreciate y'all being on the call. I do want y'all to follow up on that home fund.
Yeah, we're ready today.
So that we can.
Erica's already contacted Miss Brenda.
Okay.
Today.
Okay, and I contacted her as well. She responded and said they just need the description. So.
We saw it.
Okay, and so let's move on that pretty quick. That's it for me. Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Jackson. Commissioner Jones.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Just want to remind everyone, this Saturday, we have the root cause going on at Hattie Perry Park. I know Saturdays is kind of busy for everyone. It's from 11 to 2. Just asking everyone to come out and engage with the community on this. And obviously, I know that all of our districts don't have a high rate of crime, but I would want you to be able to come out and hear the citizens have dialogue and engagement as to what's the root cause of what's going on in our community. It may not be happening in your community, but please know that things that happen in your districts that may not necessarily affect District 6, I take time to listen. I take time to be empathetic to what's going on in other districts. We're voting on some measures that have nothing to do with District 6, but I was more than happy to pass that from our committee with ARP because I know that people need running water in their district, and so just like Commissioner Hopkins' district needs stuff, my district needs stuff too, and I'm not going to play the game of it doesn't affect me because I don't live there. And so if you've got 30 minutes out of your day on Saturday to just come and hear what the citizens are saying in District 6, which covers Hollywood, Cedar Grove, East and West, which is probably where the bulk of the crime is happening within the parish. Right in my district, I just want you guys, if you can, and ladies, to come out and just hear from the citizens. This isn't a gripe session at commissioners or elected officials. This is citizens taking the time to look at one another, to examine ourselves, and see what we can do as families, as ministers, just as citizens to begin to bring our community back together. And so that's what this is all about. So I don't want you to fear that if you show up, people are going to be trying to go at your necks. That's not what this is about. This is about trying to get our young people to the table and the community to the table so we can come up with some resolutions on our own without having to have any resolutions or ordinances or bring in the police or anything like that. What we can do as a village to strengthen our community. And I think if you would hear that from the citizens, maybe you would see where we're coming from when you don't have to hear gunshots wake you up out of your sleep. Because that's what I do on a regular basis. Hearing military-grade weapons wake me up out of my sleep. And, I chose to live in District 6. I'm not ashamed of that. I love Cedar Grove, bottom of my heart. I'm still raising my children there. But I do want a safe community. I saw a film the other day where these two young men were outside play fighting, and the elder told them to stop all that foolishness in front of our house. And for a brief moment, I almost teared up because I remembered growing up in Pine Valley when the elders were able to sit outside and tell us to stop doing certain stuff and act right and get where you need to be. And if I decided I was going to act like I didn't hear my mom calling my name, the elder down the street said, "Now I know you heard your mama calling you to come home." They can't even sit outside to do that stuff anymore out of fear of violence happening. And so I just think that is terrible. For people to be up in that age, not be able to enjoy their communities. I think it's terrible for our children not be able to enjoy their communities. So I'm asking us to find ways to engage with the citizens outside of them having to come down here to the chamber and fill out a card. This is a perfect opportunity for us to meet people where they are. And so please know if you got something going on in your district that may not necessarily affect me, but you want me there, let me know. I may not always be able to make it on a Saturday. I may be doing baseball or something with the boys, but if I have time, I'm coming. Okay, so asking everyone if you can, please make it out this Saturday from 11 to 2, Hattie Perry Park. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Jones. Commissioner Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I forgot to mention this, but I want to congratulate Commissioner Stormy Gage Watts as she becomes the new president for the Black Caucus of the Police Jury Association. That was March the 11th, I believe.
Yeah.
That's 9th, March the 9th, that she became the new president. So she serves now as the president of the Black Caucus of the Louisiana State Police Association. That's it.
That's it. Commissioner Jackson, back on the board.
Yes, I am. Jeff, Amazon TIF meeting, are we moving any closer to getting a resolution on that?
Not today.
Okay, how soon? Because my next week is already about shot.
I can get to it after this meeting.
Okay, because
I mean, it's already 5 o'clock, so.
Well, what I'm saying is, before we schedule other committee meeting, I'd like to see that committee meeting meet. And I have been asking for almost a month now to get us a meeting. So I'd like for that to be prioritized.
Okay.
And at that meeting, I'd also like to go over the baseline information that was sent to me. That was a commission-established committee that was put together by ordinance. And we need to meet. We've got funds that have come from the Industrial Development Board to master plan the area, and we can't even start right now. So we need to get formed, we need to get set up, we need to get instituted. And I'd like to know that it's a priority, because it is a priority. And so it's a lot of schedules to balance. And so I see other committees meeting and things like that. I'm asking for that one to convene and meet. That's going to be a priority for me. Dr. Wilson, Cherokee Park ditch clean out. Is that finished? Okay.
We just paid the bill.
Okay.
Just recently.
Okay. Can we get pictures of how that came out and all that process?
Yeah, I think Ms.
Okay.
Green kept pictures of that.
Or maybe even bring them down at the next meeting to just kind of highlight it. I'd like to put it on the record so that we'll know. And when citizens, because part of this is, I want to make sure that citizens, we can go back in an official record and say that this is what we need to get. This is what we've done over in Cherokee Park for that ditch. I don't know if the city went in. My understanding was the city was supposed to go in and clear out some of that vegetation. Wasn't that the agreement, that we would clean out the ditch? Or are you not familiar with that?
No, I'm not sure if they did or not.
Okay, but what that was, the agreement is that we were just cleaning out the ditch, and they were clearing out the vegetation.
Right.
Okay, but we've done our part, is what you're saying. Okay, well, I appreciate you, and appreciate your staff for working on that. And if we could get Mrs. Curtis, Donna Curtis, if we can get her and her team down to talk about what a lift it was, and let her know I appreciate for it. Appreciate it. Thank you. That's it.
Okay, Commissioner Vice President Burrell.
Thank you, Mr. President. I feel that I would be somewhat remiss if I didn't comment also on the press conference on yesterday, in which I was not able to attend and probably should have, because as you know, I've criticized this individual owner of this, I don't call it a newspaper, I call it a tabloid, because that's pretty much what it is, Mr. Settle's Inquisitor, because he has disproportionately, many times disproportionately targeted and characterized black public officials in a very negative light, just because he can. And I know myself, I've dealt with him, I try to be nice and amenable, but that's just his personality and what he does. And I know he's targeted me since 2000, when I was a city councilman, just out of the blue. A girl that I was actually dating at the time, he put a full-page article in there about me getting him a job with the city of Shreveport through Mayor Hightower, accusing me of special favors. And, you know, these type of things are unnecessary whenever there's no facts to back it up. You know, it's the type of political harassment that is not necessary, and it's not a First Amendment issue. It's not a free speech or freedom of the press. It's just plain public harassment, and it could even be considered cyber stalking. You know, we pass laws at the state where if you use media in certain ways, it could be considered cyber stalking. We've had those conversations before, and I'm hoping that this sent a message that you just cannot harass the public. We are part of the public, although we are public officials. The word public means that we are part of the public. So again, hopefully it'll send a message to them that you just cannot do that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Burrell. Seeing no one else on the board, I guess I will do. I guess we have administrative report. Dr. Wilson.
Yes, sir. Just one item. I need to report to you all. We had one COVID infection this past week in our own organization. The other organization is still reporting 0. So that's one thing I have for you today.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Wilson.
Yes, sir.
Mr.
And
Clerk,
now
if
we're
it's
at
okay with you, I'll
president's
do a quick president's report. As was referred to earlier, there was a joint council commission meeting. Commissioner Burrell and I, along with staff, represented the commission. Many technology issues were discussed, including the Comcast issue you raised, Commissioner Jackson. And you know, a meeting like that is not the place to solve those technical issues, but it looked like we have a good team that's getting together to try to work through those matters. So hopefully they'll get those technology issues addressed soon. Another key issue discussed was an issue that's come up in our discussion some, the plan for the partitions, the plan for removing the partitions and unstrapping the seats. You know, I think the commission is fairly divided on what they would like to do on that, but it appeared that the council was pretty unified in that they'd like to keep the partitions up. So, given that we didn't want to we didn't want to fight about it, we'll continue to stay as is for the time being. If we start having capacity issues out in the auditorium, we can revisit those issues. So right now we're just going to stick with the status quo. I also wanted to remind everybody it's early voting this week, is it not? So I want to remind everybody of early voting goes through Saturday. There's the sheriff's and millages on the ballot, and a judge's race on the ballot. That's all I have. Thank you all. Carry on, Mr. Clerk.
All right, that brings us to public hearings on zoning ordinances and cases, of which we have none today. So we'll move forward to public hearing on ordinances, where we have a number of those. Would you like for me to read those one by one, or read them all together?
Let's read them all together, and then we will open up for public hearing.
That sounds good. We'll start with a public hearing for ordinance number 6204 of 2022. That's an ordinance proposing an amendment to the Caddo Parish Home Rule Charter relative to Section 3-07, Commission meetings and rules for presentation to the electorate and otherwise providing with respect thereto. Then we have public hearing for ordinance number 6205 of 2022. That's an ordinance proposing an amendment to the Caddo Parish Home Rule Charter relative to Section 3-07, Commission meetings and rules for presentation to the electorate and otherwise providing with respect thereto. The third item is a public hearing for ordinance number 6206 of 2022, an ordinance proposing an amendment to the Caddo Parish Home Rule Charter, deleting Section 5-05.2, Department of Fleet Services for presentation to the electorate, and otherwise providing with respect thereto. That's followed by a public hearing for ordinance number 6207 of 2022. That's an ordinance amending the budget of estimated revenues and expenditures for the Riverboat Fund to provide an appropriation for Friends in Unity and otherwise provide with respect thereto. The next item is a public hearing for ordinance number 6208 of 2022. That's an ordinance amending the budget of estimated revenues and expenditures for the American Rescue Plan Fund for the year 2022 to provide an appropriation for a water line extension in Blanchard and to otherwise provide with respect thereto. The final item in this section is a public hearing for ordinance number 6209 of 2022. That's an ordinance amending the budget of estimated revenues and expenditures for the Riverboat Fund to provide an appropriation of $20,000 for Louisiana urban gardening and to otherwise provide with respect thereto.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. We'll now open up the chamber for public hearing. Is there anyone in the chamber who would like to speak for or against any of the items listed previously? Seeing no one, public hearing is closed. We can continue on, Mr. Clerk.
Okay, that brings us to zoning ordinances. We have none for final passage today, so we'll move forward to ordinances for final passage, where the first item is ordinance number 6204 of 2022. That's an ordinance proposing an amendment to the Caddo Parish Home Rule Charter relative to Section 3-07.
I'd like to move to in globo and adopt 6204, 6205, and 6206 of 2022.
Second.
We have a motion to adopt 6205, 6206, 6204, 6205, and 6206 by Commissioner John Paul Young, seconded by Commissioner Talbero, I think. Let me let you comment on that, and then I think Attorney Frazier's on the board. Maybe we've got something, or, well, Henry's on the board. Why don't you comment real quick, Henry?
I just wanted to remind the commission that the charter requires that these be adopted by a 2/3 vote of the membership, which means a positive vote, affirmative vote of 8 to adopt.
Thank you for that reminder. Commissioner Young, go ahead.
This is just part of our charter amendment process. That's all.
Okay. Seeing no one else on the board, I think we're ready to vote.
Oops.
All right, and that motion carries with 12 in support, none in opposition. And that brings us to the next item, ordinance number 6207 of 2022. That's an ordinance amending the budget of estimated revenues and expenditures for the Riverboat Fund to provide an appropriation for Friends in Unity and to otherwise provide with respect thereto.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion for Commissioner Jackson, a second from Commissioner Jones to move to approve. Would you like to comment, Commissioner Jackson?
Again, this is budget neutral. It's just moving over money that was appropriated in last year, was unused by Grace Project. And I've heard commentary today about selective reporting. It had not been reported that Grace dipped into their own reserve and paid for a lot of projects that they're doing in the community out of their own pocket, and graciously told the parish that they would not use their dollars, not because they had done anything wrong, but because they thought it was best fit for someone else to do, and that's being a good steward. So I'd ask us to approve favorably. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Jackson. Seeing no one else on the board, let's vote.
And that motion is adopted with 12 in support and none in opposition. That brings us to ordinance number 6208 of 2022, which is an ordinance amending the budget of estimated revenues and expenditures for the American Rescue Plan Fund for the year 2022 and to provide an appropriation for a water extension, a water line extension in Blanchard, and otherwise providing with respect thereto.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion from Commissioner Jackson, a second from Commissioner Chavez. Commissioner Jackson, would you like to? Was it,
I
was
thought
it
that was
Hopkins?
Hopkins.
Okay, the second from Hopkins then. Commissioner Jackson, would you like to comment?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I've had some conversations about this today, even with some members on this body. Who will be the recipient of these dollars? Do we know? Will it be Love's Truck Stop, or will it be the town of Blanchard? Or will it be anybody?
It'll be a contract.
I think the project, the Love's project overall, the money will go into that project.
Right. So is this, who's going to do the project, I guess?
Well, I think Blanchard's gonna
Right.
update the lines.
Okay.
With Baylor's, the engineer and.
Okay, so we're gonna do this through the town of Blanchard. And I had some issues or some questions, and I shared that with some folks today. I will go ahead and move to approve this today, but sort of piggybacking what has been said earlier and about holding elected officials and entities accountable for doing business with individuals, publications that are making known racist statements. And while Tar Baby may mean something to someone else, what it means to the African American community is a derogatory term. And I stand by, I was not here yesterday to be able to join and stand with those other elected officials, but I watched it. And I think Pastor Whitaker, for his comments, they were well put together, well thought out, and I think his list of concessions that were asked and made are reasonable. We should not be doing business with folks who are making racist statements in 2022. The Tar Baby was used. We have to go back to the original origins. I believe it's called the etymology of it. The Tar Baby was used to enslave, the fox used it to enslave the rabbit. And so in that folktale, it is a book that has been banned, and so, or a poem or a folktale that has been banned across the world. And so we shouldn't support things that are supporting racist and bigoted statements. And I'll say you don't necessarily have to say the word tar baby or nigger or negro or homosexual to infer it. And I'm of the belief that multiple times when we are writing things that's insinuating that African American elected officials down here are trying to mislead the public, misuse public funds, be unethical, that was the Tar Baby in the story. The Tar Baby was used to trick the rabbit. And we should not continue to do that. I do believe that Love's truck stops, the ones that I've been in, I've seen them carry the paper. I don't know if they still do. But I'm going to support the project. But I do want to make sure, and I support the comments that Commissioner Johnson made earlier about holding businesses, elected officials, and entities accountable for doing business and basically using public dollars to promote that type of inflammatory language in 2022. Thank you, Mr. President.
Commissioner Johnson.
Yes, I wanted to englobo and adopt 6208 and 6209 of 2022.
Second.
We have a motion from Commissioner Johnson to englobo and adopt 6208 and 6209 with a second from Commissioner Jackson.
And this as a point of reference, 6209 was funds that we allocated to the organization. They couldn't use them until February of this year. She will be eligible to use them, and so she's requesting to use the money that we allocated last year.
Okay. Commissioner Jackson?
Yes. Just was there not a project in District 3? I thought we originally put one in District 3. Was it?
Three is the one that's on Milam, unless you want another one.
Okay, so that's not this. Okay. And then my last question is, do we know in Blanchard we can confirm that Blanchard is the publication for, Blanchard, the Inquisitor is the publication for Blanchard, right?
I can't confirm that.
Okay. I've seen it on the front of the page, but if we can, and y'all email that out, would that be something the clerk does or the attorney? Okay. They're pointing all over there at you, Jeff. So if we can confirm who is their official journal, we'd appreciate it.
I will look it up.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, that's it.
All right, are we ready to vote on ordinance number 6208 and 6209? Mr. Clerk, we're ready to vote.
Yes, we are. We should be ready. Thank you. That is a motion from Commissioner Johnson, second by Commissioner Jackson to globo and adopt. And that passes by 12 in support, none in opposition. And that brings us to zoning ordinances for introduction by title, of which we have none today. So we'll move on to ordinances for introduction by title. And if you'll hold 1 second, I'm sorry, I just want to write this note down about Blanchard. Okay, ordinances for introduction by title. We have, the first is 16.1, introduce ordinance number 6210 of 2022, an ordinance amending the 2022 budget of estimated revenues and expenditures for the American Rescue Plan Fund to provide an additional appropriation for Fire District 4 and otherwise provide with respect thereto. The next item is introducing ordinance number 6211 of 2022, an ordinance amending the 2022 budget of estimated revenues and expenditures for the American Rescue Plan Fund to provide an appropriation for Sewer District 7 and otherwise providing with respect thereto. The next item is introducing ordinance number 6212 of 2022. That's an ordinance amending the budget of estimated revenues for the American Rescue Plan Fund to provide an appropriation for community healthcare solutions and otherwise provide with respect thereto. The next item is the introduction of ordinance number 6214 of 2022. That's an ordinance amending the budget of estimated revenues and expenditures for the Riverboat Fund in the amount of $7,500 to provide an appropriation for basic necessities and otherwise provide with respect thereto. The next item is to introduce ordinance number 6215 of 2022. That is an ordinance amending the budget of estimated revenues and expenditures for the Economic Development Fund in the amount of $3,000 for the Lady Bass Anglers Association and otherwise provide with respect thereto. The next item is the introduction of ordinance number 6216 of 2022. That is an ordinance amending the budget of estimated revenues and expenditures for the Riverboat Fund in the amount of $6,500 to provide an appropriation for wildlife education and rehabilitation of Louisiana and otherwise provide with respect thereto. The next item is to introduce ordinance number 6217 of 2022. That's an ordinance amending the budget of estimated revenues and expenditures for the Riverboat Fund in the amount of $10,000 to provide an appropriation for Shreveport Green and to otherwise provide with respect thereto. The next item is the introduction of ordinance number 6218 of 2022. That's an ordinance to amend and reenact sections 50-26 of the Caddo Parish Code of Ordinances relative to exemptions and exclusions from sales and use tax in order to exempt diapers and feminine hygiene products for individual and personal use and otherwise provide with respect thereto. The final item in this section is to introduce ordinance number 6219 of 2022, an ordinance amending the budget of estimated revenues and expenditures for the Economic Development Fund for the year 2022 to provide an appropriation of $25,000 for the Shreveport-Bossier African American Chamber of Commerce and otherwise provide with respect thereto. And that brings us now to work session minutes, where you should have attached the work session minutes of your meeting on Monday, March 14th.
We have a motion from Commissioner Stormy Gage Watts and a second from Commissioner Epperson to approve the work session minutes. Let's vote.
And that motion carries with 12 in support and none in opposition. That brings us to resolutions, where the first item you have before you today is resolution number 23 of 2022. That's a resolution urging the United States Congress to improve the United States Postal Service's reliability and timeliness of its deliveries and otherwise providing with respect thereto.
Move for adoption.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Epperson, a second by Commissioner Stormy Gage Watts to move for adoption. And we have a vote. Any comments?
I was gonna make a substitute motion to move to global resolution number 23 and 24.
Second.
We have a substitute motion by Commissioner.
Just to interrupt, did you want to also include 25, which was the one that the agenda was expanded to include?
Yes.
Okay, so we have a motion to englobo and adopt resolution number 23, 24, and 25.
Yes.
by Commissioner Stormy Gage Watts, seconded by Commissioner Epperson.
Can you read 25 for everybody?
Absolutely. 25 is a resolution urging and requesting the Louisiana legislature to adopt Senate Bill, I believe it's 322 of 2022, concerning the official journal advertising for local elected bodies, or local governments, and otherwise providing with respect thereto.
Is that enough, Commissioner Johns? All right, Commissioner Gage Watts, did you want to speak on your motion?
No, just moving it forward for the second time.
Okay, Commissioner Epperson?
Would you submit a copy, Jeff, to the postmaster at the main post office on Greenwood Road too, on the resolution number 23?
Absolutely.
All right, that's it. I think we're ready to vote, Mr. Clerk. We got to get Commissioner Epperson home.
Commissioner Jackson?
All right, that motion carries with 12 in support and none in opposition. And that brings us to old business. We have no old business today, so we'll move forward to new business, where before you today we have a couple of items. The first is to appoint members to the Caddo Parish Temporary Planning and Zoning Commission, and the commission is to appoint 5 members. These members were required to have had their applications submitted by a certain date, and they were required to live outside the incorporated areas, but within the zoned areas of the parish. And so all of these people meet those requirements.
I have a question, Mr. Clerk. Did we specifically say that there'd be only 5 members on this committee?
It does say that in
Okay. All right, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 members.
8 members.
8 members.
Or 8 nominees.
Right, sorry, 8 nominees, thank you. And we will need to, work this down to 5. So I would propose that we each have 5 votes. And we start at the top, and as a name is called, if you are in favor of that member, you would place your vote with that member, and we'd work our way down. And remember, each member of the commission will only have 5 votes, and as we work our way through the process, if people have a majority vote, then they'll move on the committee. If they don't have a majority vote, we'll keep the process going and the cycle going until we have 7 with the majority vote. Pardon me, 5 with the majority vote. If that process will work for everybody, that's what I propose we move forward with. But I see I've got several people on the board. Commissioner Burrell.
Thank you, thank you, Mr. President. I think Jeff may have already answered the question. My question was, are all the people in the zoning area? That is, they are not in the unincorporated, the incorporated area, nor are they in that portion of the unincorporated area beyond the 5-mile zone. Is that correct?
Correct.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Oh, another thing just to mention, because it could cause some confusion, the item, you'll see next to their names a district listed. That's the district that sponsored them, not necessarily the district where they live. And I believe there is a resume attached for each candidate.
Wait a minute. I'm looking at it. I think I'm looking at the order has changed, has it not, between the broadband committee on an earlier draft? Are we, is this we're on the planning zone here?
Yeah, these are not
Planning and Zoning Commission.
Okay, it changed the order. Change location from a draft to the final. So if this is the case, go ahead, Commissioner Jackson. Commissioner Chavez.
Thank you, President. Commissioners, I just wanted to ask for your support on Mrs. Newbert, and I know we're going to be making motions and we're going to be voting, but this is obviously one of the board members that rolled off voluntarily off the Metropolitan Planning Commission. So I feel that she's got a lot of expertise to offer the board on this continuing board. And she also has already achieved her ethics training and her APA training, which all these other commissioners will have to do. So I think she'll be a good person to lead whomever we choose. So I would just ask for your support on her, and that's all. Thank you, President.
All right, thank you. Looks like I'm next on the board. I'd like to make a motion to vote on a 4-person slate to start with, and that 4-person slate would include Phyllis Hart, Laura Newbert, Damon Humphrey, and Lauren Marchive.
Second.
I have a second from Commissioner Jackson. Just a little background here. I think it's very important that we end up at the end of the day with a functioning board. It's my personal view that these 4 may have the broadest support, although I have no statistical data for that. And in this way, if we can get a 4-person board in place, we'll know we have something we can move forward with, and then we can have a separate vote on the remaining players to figure out the 5th person on that board. Okay?
Oh, wait, sorry, run that happened again. I was expecting us to go one by one, so run those names again. I may have gotten lost in myself.
Well, we'll go. The proposed 4-person board is.
It's a 5-member board, though, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
sorry, I'm proposing a
slate.
4-person slate to start with, and then we will fill the 5th on a 1-by-1 vote. You with me, Commissioner?
I guess.
Okay, thank you.
I comprehend. Let me say that.
Right, if you don't approve, you can vote with you can vote with your finger. All right, I'm not sure who's new on this board.
I'm off.
Jackson, are you new?
I'm off.
Okay,
I am.
you're new, Commissioner Epperson, go ahead.
Program Waller is a highly experienced neighborhood, homeowners association member, various other entities. The Caddo Industrial Development Board, she's received her ethics training and financial disclosure statements also. She's been on community boards a number of years, highly familiar. And I'm not going to vote in favor of 4-man slate. I think we should go one by one.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Epperson. Commissioner Chavez.
Thank you, Chairman or President. I was going to ask for clarification, but so you want us to vote only 4 people, and then we're going to vote 1 independently?
The motion that I made is that, yes, we'll vote for this 4-person slate that I proposed, and then after discussion with others, and then assuming that 4-person slate is approved, then to fill the last remaining spot, we would take the remaining candidates and work through that voting
I
process.
understand. Okay, thank you, Chairman.
Okay. All right, seeing no one else on the board, please, let's vote on the motion to approve the 4-person slate as proposed, the 4-person slate proposed.
Mr. President, can I have those names one more time, please?
The names are,
Those are Phyllis Hart, Laura Newbert, Damon Humphrey, and Lauren Marchive.
Thank you.
all right,
Commissioner Gage Watts.
All right, and that motion carries with 10 in support and 2 in opposition. So then that brings us, the remaining candidates are Kay Proby Waller, Jake Brown, Chris Crackman, Bart Little. So we will start at the top, right?
yeah, with one, we each have 1 vote, right?
Yes, so everybody will get 1 vote. And if so there are 4 candidates, there's 1 vote each. We'll go through the 4 candidates unless there is somebody who gets, if somebody gets 7, we stop there. If somebody, just not, then we'll have to go through and count the plurality. And I suppose let me get a clarification. Do y'all want to adopt the person who gets the most votes of the 4? or do you want to take the top 2 vote getters and go back with those?
We've discussed taking the top 2 vote getters, and I think it's important that someone end up with a plurality, with a majority.
If there's a, yeah, if there's a tie or something, okay.
Point of
Commissioner
order.
Jackson.
And this may be, I don't know, but I thought, because see, now my no vote looks as if, the way this is ending up, it looks like my no vote looks as if I was voting no against those persons, when I thought I was voting no against that process. How did I get that confused? What happened?
You're not, I mean, I see your point. I think it was it was both a motion to adopt by a different process and a motion that included some particular names in it. So while I understand what you're saying, that it could be interpreted as if you were voting against those particular candidates, however, I guess it could also be argued that your vote was procedural because did you...
Right, see, I thought we was doing a procedural vote and not putting people on the board. That's why I voted no. Because I don't know.
Well, if you're
lost.
if you're okay with them, you can just say you're okay with them, and we'll move forward.
Okay.
All right. All right. Commissioner Clerk, I think we're ready to start with the. Commissioner Burrell.
Point of clarification. When Jeff said that we are now voting on the 4, are we talking about the 4 that's on the slate?
So let me go back over this real quickly. So there are 4 candidates remaining. You only get 1 yes vote.
Remaining after the slate.
What's that?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, you only get 1 yes vote now for each of these. So what we'll do, if you vote for this candidate, put yes. Go ahead and click the no button. If it's really just to let us know that you're done considering your vote, because we have no other way of knowing. So I know that it doesn't really feel like you want to be voting a no. You're just kind of not casting a vote. But I guess you could click abstain.
No.
Because if you're saying we got 1 vote, we're voting every time, then just vote for yes if you're for that person, only the person you're voting yes for.
Yeah, I'm just saying you cannot vote 2 yeses.
That's right.
But you don't vote a no at all.
That's what y'all keep up with.
No, we don't vote
Okay,
no.
so we're just going to have to ask, is everyone done with their vote?
Okay,
Yeah.
Mr. Clark.
Mr. President, wouldn't it be the same type of process like the appointment?
Yes.
You only voted
one
for who
time.
you want one time.
Yes.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
it.
So just vote your yes, and if you don't want the next candidate, don't vote
at all.
Yeah.
So let's just get everybody. Let's reset a moment. So we have approved a slate of 4 members. That slate of 4 members is 4 of the 5. We've approved a slate of 4 of the 5. Those are Phyllis Hart, Laura Newbert, Damon Humphrey, and Lauren Marchive. We are now moving forward to try to fill the 5th slot. Okay. And we will, there just happen to be four remaining people to choose from. Right. That's Kay Proby-Waller, Jake Brown, Chris Crackman, and Bart Little. And we each have 1 vote, and we only vote for the person we want to, we hit yes for the person that we're interested in voting on when that person's name is raised by the clerk. Okay? We all good?
Okay, so are we ready for the first one? Is Kay Proby-Waller.
Commissioner Epperson, are you fresh on the board?
No.
Okay.
Okay, and Ms. Waller received 6 votes. All right, the next person is Jake Brown.
1 second.
Wait, let me, yeah, let me make sure wait, can you bring that vote screen back up for 1 sec? No. Did you get the list? I didn't get them all. Okay. Jake Brown. Okay.
So now everyone's voted.
Those are the 2.
Mm-hmm.
One of those 2.
So that means there are no votes left for Chris Crackman or Bart Little to receive. So we're kind of at a hung jury. How would you guys like to proceed?
Commissioner Johnson.
I'd like to make a substitute motion to the original ordinance that we have 6 members.
Second.
Okay, we have a substitute motion, or a, is that a substitute motion? Is that was-
Yes.
A substitute motion to the original motion that we expand the board from 5 to 6.
Yes.
Okay, would you like to comment further on that, Commissioner Jack Johnson?
It looked like this will be a 6-6 tie all the way down, so put both of them on the board, and we have a 6-person board, and move forward and get this done. This is a temporary board. No sense of sitting here 3 hours on 6-6. So add by 1 person.
Okay.
Henry, I know you finna say something legally wise, but
The temporary planning commission was created by ordinance, and that ordinance says 5 members. To change the number, you have to amend the ordinance, which means
was it in the title or was it in the body?
it's in the body.
So if it's in the body, we should be able to change it here.
No, sir.
Once it's adopted.
Once it's adopted, it's an ordinance, it's on the books. The only way to a change it would be another ordinance, amending it.
All right. I take my motion back then. Don't say I wasn't trying to work. Make it happen.
Yeah, okay, so let's make one more pass at a vote, and if we don't, if we are still deadlocked on this final 5th spot, we'll move forward with the board of 4, or until, at least on a temporary basis. Anyone on the board?
Henry, got some heartburn on that too?
Do I need to make the motion for K-Pro Revival, or we starting on?
How about this? Can y'all give me some clarity? Obviously, it's a bit of an unusual situation where the votes are maxed out at 12. There's been 12 votes, but there's still 2 candidates we haven't addressed yet. Do y'all want to start over at the beginning, or do you want me to keep going down the list?
Just a runoff between those 2.
Yeah, we said coming in that
Just the top 2 vote getters.
Yeah,
okay.
and obviously all the votes have been cast, so these will be our top 2 vote getters. So,
Okay.
I will say, is there any comments anyone would like to make for either Kay Proby Waller or Jake Brown? Seeing nobody on the board, there's a question by Commissioner John Paul Young.
Thank you, Mr. President. If we are tied on these 2 names, will we have an opportunity to come back perhaps with another name that perhaps would get a majority of our votes in a future meeting?
I'm not sure how that'll work, but I'm certainly open to trying to find the appropriate person to fill that slot.
Unfortunately, the ordinance does also say that the resumes had to be received by a certain date.
Correct.
And they've been received already.
Commissioner Chavez.
If we can't agree on the 5th person, Henry, can we legally move forward with 4 to get these what we need out of here?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because from this standpoint, if you'd have put 5 people on it and one of them dropped off for some reason, it can still function. It's just that you'd still have to get a quorum of 3 out of 4 people as opposed to a quorum of 3 out of 5.
Okay. I yield.
Okay. All right. Are you all ready for the second round of votes here?
Well, I'm on the board.
Okay, Commissioner Clark, please. Pardon me. Sorry, what's that, Commissioner
Well, I
Jones?
thought I was on the board.
I can't see the board.
The board's not working right now, but Commissioner Jackson and Commissioner Epperson are both in the speaker queue.
In a secret queue?
Speaker queue.
A secret speaker queue. Commissioner Jackson.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to appoint Kay Proby Waller, Laura Newbert, Phyllis Hart, Damon Humphrey, and Lauren Marchive.
Second.
All right, we have a motion from Commissioner Jackson to
basically adopt that as a slate. I guess since we did the slate earlier, it would have been Kay Proby, Phyllis Hart, Laura Newbert, Damon Humphrey, and Lauren Marchive. I apologize if she's watching and I'm mispronouncing her name.
Point of information, Mr. President.
Sorry, who spoke?
Well, I'm just trying to get us past this impasse. I wouldn't have necessarily done it as a slate, since we've always done them as individuals. But the vote prevailed. I was confused on that. I thought we were voting on the process and not so much the people. But I voted no for that. But I think doing that, we find ourselves at this impasse, and so I'm just trying to get us past this impasse. Thank you.
Well, we would have been at a worse impasse if we pursued things differently. We have a motion by Commissioner Jackson, a second by Commissioner Jones. We're ready for a vote on that. What, yes, sir. Commissioner, y'all gonna have to let me know who's up. All right, Commissioner Lazarus?
Yeah, we've already passed this slate. So we've got 4 members of this board already.
Well, if
we passed a 4-member slate, correct?
We passed a 4-member.
I think what Commissioner Jackson just proposes a 5-member slate.
Right. If his motion doesn't pass, then we go back to the 4-member slate. All right. All right, Commissioner. We have a motion and a second. We're ready to vote. We're voting on Commissioner Jackson's proposed 5-member slate.
Okay, and that motion does not carry. It has 5 in support and 6 in opposition.
All right, we have Commissioner Chavez.
Call for the question.
Well, I don't think we need a call like that. That was the only motion out there. The one before it was.
I thought we had to go back to voting for the last 2. I'm calling for the question.
All right, we go back to voting on those 2 individuals. Yeah. Is that right?
That's correct. Yes.
Okay.
I mean, we may need a new motion, but yeah, unless I'm wrong, I may have forgotten a motion.
Commissioner Chavez is making
I thought that we need a new motion.
Commissioners, make a motion that, in the absence of compromise, that we accept the 4 that we have as the slate now, and we move on the agenda, so that we can come together later to find a 5th member that we all agree on, so we can get the MPC done.
Your motion is to move forward with 4, then?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Chavez, a second by Commissioner Jackson. Okay.
And call for the question.
And call for the question. All right. Let's vote. No, man. I stepped down to you.
No, you didn't.
Oh, come on. We'll have to talk about it later.
We're already voting, but I have a substitute motion.
We've got a vote going here.
Yep.
Okay, that motion carries with 10 in support, 1 in opposition, and 1 absent. That brings us to appointing members to the broadband committee. Now, this is the commission is to appoint the following members to the committee. There are again more members than the number of appointments that you need for this. However, I do believe the broadband committee was established by resolution.
How many commitments?
Wait a minute, how many do we have?
7.
I'm trying to call that up
No,
for you. That's
that's-
attached on your
that's
attachments
13.
there. My computer screen is just locked up, so I apologize. I'm not able to access the
We can go up to 13, Mr.
the
Chair.
digital attachments, but they should be included there.
There's 6 already.
So that's a complete.
Yeah, that's correct. You have 6 more that you could appoint, and
All right, so we need
7
to
names.
appoint 6 of these 7 to the broadband committee.
Well, if you appointed 6, that would fill the committee, and you have 7 names. But like I said, this committee was formed by resolution and not ordinance. So
Okay.
if there was a desire to expand it, you could do that.
I can go back to expanding, Mr. Chairman, if I need to.
Okay. Go ahead and get on the board if you'd like. Oh, you are. Commissioner Young, are you on the board? Commissioner Burrell, are you on the board?
Let me make sure here.
I am.
Point of clarification here.
Well, I was reading the board.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So right now, with these, 7, That'll complete our 13 that's on there now? Well, I would say
If we adopted everybody that's on this list before you today, it would put you at 13 members.
Okay.
Unless you expanded the committee.
Well, I'm just gonna recommend that we go ahead on and put these 13. Bossier has 15, so we may come back and just expand it.
Well, and I may also point out that, one of the people that we included is Tracy Calloway, who's on our staff here, who, will participate regardless of if he is a official member or not. I think he would be amenable to participating. So if you wanted to stay within the number that you have spelled out in the resolution, you might remove his name and just.
But I thought you said we had 6 and this is 7, so it'd be 13 anyway.
Correct.
Okay.
But it's a 12-member board.
Should be
It's
a
a
13.
12-member board.
Well, maybe I got to go back and look at the resolution, but I thought it was up to 13. I made sure that it was an odd number.
Well, someone may want to, as Commissioner Clerk pointed out, someone may want to just propose a slate that doesn't include Mr. Callaway, because he'll be participating as a staff member anyway.
I'll make the recommendations.
Well, you'll have to get back on the board, Commissioner Burrell.
It shouldn't be.
Commissioner
You're trying to see how it got to 12.
Commissioner Chavez.
I'll yield, Chairman.
Commissioner Johnson.
I'm gonna try this. Make a motion to adopt the 6 names and include Tracy Calloway as the parish representative, but not as a member that's listed.
Second.
All right, we have a motion to adopt actually the 6 names here that aren't Caddo Parish employees as members of the board, and plus we'll adopt Mr. Callaway as the Caddo Parish representative to the board.
Yes.
All right, that was the motion from Commissioner Johnson, the second from Commissioner Talaferro, right?
Correct.
All right. Mr. Hopkins, do you have a comment on this?
Take me off.
All right. Any other comments on this before we vote?
That should satisfy Commissioner Burrell's desire to have 13 members.
Yeah, it's a nice compromise.
Sounds good.
You end up with.
It doesn't make me a better difference.
Okay. All right.
I work with 12, 15 if you got it. Don't make no
Let's
difference.
vote, Mr. Clerk.
All right. And that motion carries with 10 in support, none in opposition. That brings us to communiques and committee reports. Yes, Bridget.
Anybody else on the board? Commissioner Chavez.
Thanks, Chairman. Travis, Director Clark, and Director Samuel, thank you for taking care of that horse. That's all. Thanks, President.
Thank you, Commissioner Chavez. Anyone else on the board? All right. Any citizens' comments? Any late-minute citizens' comments?
Move to adjourn.
Second. Motion. We are adjourned. Thank you.